All right, we're rolling. Let's jam. It's Freedom Phil. Like and subscribe. What's today's topic? Why is it so many people, like old boomers, friends and family, people from your hometown, why does it seem like they're not really in your corner? Why do they want to see you do good enough, but not better than them? Because at the end of the day, they're not in your corner. They're in this, they got too much of their ego wrapped up in their brains. Where am I going with this? It's Freedom Phil. Like and subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. And why do I say that? Because you could watch this video far faster. 1.5, 1.75. I watch a lot of people's content at 2.5 to 3 times speed. Yeah, let's get into it. And once again, always, if you're a parent just letting your kid watch anything on the internet and you're offended by what I say, you're a shitty parent. You should know what your kids are watching. Yeah. Don't censor the internet. Just be a better parent. Let's get into it. I've seen this syndrome in a lot of old people, and I think it's kind of funny, and they don't even recognize it. It's usually subconscious, and a lot of people, they want to see you do good, but they don't want to see you do better than them. And the reason for that is that, frankly, a lot of them did it the way they were told, and it was a waste of their time, their life, and everything. They do it life on reverse, and then when they get to like 50, 60 years old, it kind of burns that they had to waste so much time just to finally get a little credit for what they did. Like, when you have to be 2 or 3 times as right, ask somebody who talks about old school, racial issues. You had to be 2 or 3 times as right with these people. So it wasn't that you were wrong, you were just the wrong person in their eyes. And there's also this old, concept of, don't try till you're 35, which isn't even applicable anymore. It used to make sense because the people that held the levers of power, they were like, well, we're not, until you had some gray hairs, they couldn't take you seriously. So effectively what happens is they'd hold you back. You'd be qualified to do this much more, but they keep you down here. Oh, they'd get that much more work out of you, but they'd keep you right down here. And part of it also has to do with a lot of old people, or your friends, family, colleagues, people from your hometown, coworker, whatever. I don't care. They don't want to train you so well that they're training their replacement. You see this in a lot of businesses. And back in the day, by the way, all these people complaining that you can't find a plumber, an electrician, and all this stuff. For how long was that the mentality of a lot of boomers and younger Gen Xers? I'm not training the next guy. He's going to be my replacement. Well, now there's nobody to do the job, is there? So what ends up happening is in that respect, people would hold back the youth from ever getting anywhere. There's also this concept I call lighthouse theory. Let's just say everybody kind of starts out and they're kind of like, they shine a little, but it's kind of a quiet light, kind of a dim light. And one person shines a little more. You'll see this with your friend groups. And what happens is that your friend groups, one guy, he's the leader, he's the guy, he's the thing. Hasn't done anything really that accomplished. In fact, if anybody puts forth any real effort, any actual getting it together, that guy will look less. So he'll want to keep you right where you're at. I saw this all the time in my hometown where I grew up. It's not that I was wrong. I was just the wrong person. And I didn't fit into whatever groove or line of thinking that people had. Even with friends and family. No offense. My family watches this. I've seen that with you guys. Like, you give me information, but not enough to actually make it work. Well, here's the thing. And then, okay, I gotta go. Incomplete things just to leave you stumbling. That guy on that lighthouse, where he's like this, when you're down here, they like keeping you there because then they look better. But what happens when you build yourself up? You brighter and brighter and brighter, and you're up here. Now you're a beacon, and people go, like also a lot of it comes down to the excuses that people make. Well, that's the way it is. That's society. No, most people are fucking lazy and they don't want to put forth effort. They put forth enough effort to get to where they're at, and after that, they're done. They don't want to put one iota of effort in after that. Why? Because that's work. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. Now, what happens when people look at you and you've built yourself up from here, below this guy, to here? And you're like, no, I just did this thing and I'm getting better results. Now, that guy looks like, well, people are going to look at the old champ and be like, what the hell? Why didn't you do that? Now their position is threatened. And that's why a lot of those people that are just slightly above you, they'll want to keep you right where you're at. Oh, they'll even encourage you. A little pat on the back. Like the song says, a pat on the back that'll hold you back. You know, smiling faces sometimes tell lies. The handshake that hides the snake. Look up that song. It's like this. There's another way to describe this. B talent always hires C talent. B talent will hire C talent. And why? Because B talent knows it's not A talent. A talent doesn't give a fuck. A talent and S class, you know, like way above everything. A talent doesn't care because A talent can go get another job anytime it wants. It can get another position, another situation, another chick, another things. But B talent, your middle management, your losers, they want to hire people that are lesser than them. Once again, the person that was never at the top, never the shining the brightest, they want to make sure they'll keep everybody under them. Friends, family, all these people do it. Now, that's subconscious mentality in a lot of people, and sometimes it's actively in their minds. You'll see this kind of, the daggers come out when things get a little rough. I remember back during the recession, I was working at this, I was a temp agency, and I was working at this shipyards, and these guys would be talking shit about me. You know, I was up there, I was just chilling, I was eating some bagels. You know, they're a 2 for $1 back then. And this one goes, where'd you steal those bagels? I'm like, why would I steal bagels? They're like 2 for $1. What the hell? Where'd you? Well, I'm like, no, you're just saying stuff. I looked at him like, you're just saying stuff because you're worried I'm going to take your job because you're actually really not that competent. And he looked all shocked. And some of the other workers there looked shocked. Oh my God, could you take my job? That's when you see people trying to stab you in the back. Old people, they know, a lot of them know that the game was a waste. It was a total fucking waste. Their life was a waste. Cars, clothes, interest payments, bullshit. I mean, when I say the hero's journey, and I've said it in one time, I said it a million times, whether it's driving truck, being a tradesman, live as cheap as possible, I don't care, tent in the backyard, live with your parents, share a room with people, a van, live in a truck, like if you're an OTR trucker, well, that's still a thing, will be around forever. Live as cheap as possible, and like, you know, anywhere from 7 to 10 years, you can be retired in America. There's cheap land all over the Midwest. You can invest when you're young, and then your money's making you money. Woo! Imagine what would happen if you didn't have a huge debt all the time. Didn't have to pay the car payments. Didn't have to pay all the bullshit. Now, when I've actually pointed that out to a number of people, I'm like, well, I don't see anything holding anybody back other than themselves. And I've often said, this pisses off a lot of people, the greediest people you ever meet, as I always say, are the poor. Because in America, we have so many opportunities and they do nothing with it. Imagine for a second that sometimes, and this is where the shame comes in for a lot of them, their kids look at them. When you're living like in a trailer park or the ghetto or wherever, and the kids eventually realize, yeah, my parents could have done better. The parents will try to reinforce some bullshit message like, oh, the man's holding us back. Or it's government, it's that other group of people. No, it couldn't possibly be that mom decided to get knocked up by a loser. And, you know, sometimes it's legitimate, like she's a widow or dad got injured, disease, but most of the time it's just your parents are overgrown children. And and when they look at their kids one day, and then they look at them and like, yeah, my parents are fuck ups. But the parents have to reinforce. You'll see this with some of the, like black people call it the struggle. So bad decisions is somehow someone else's fault. Just like if you go to Appalachian broke ass coal mining towns or up in the logging country where I grew up, anywhere in the country, bad decisions are someone else's fault other than your own family's. And after your own birth situation that your parents butt fucked you into, then it's your decision. You know when you're in a bad position, start building yourself up. Get out of the dim little light in the mud where you're in, build yourself up. Being a shining beacon. But that's hard work. So bringing it back to why the old people, they get so pissed when the young are doing well. Why they get so pissed. Because a lot of them know that they could have done more. They could have been a contender. They could have been something incredible. So when they see a young millionaire or someone that just has their game together better than them at something, a lot of times there's a certain level of resentment, deep-seated. They may not even consciously feel it. It's deep conscious, subconscious. And so instead of being like, hey, that guy's doing all right, or that's a good talking point, hey, that's interesting, okay, yeah, they'll just talk shit. By the way, very female bitch behavior. You know, like, intelligent people will look at a situation and they'll try to, okay, how do we do this? How do we make this happen? Average and sub-average people, instead of trying to figure out how to do it or make it better or take the information and improve it, they'll try to destroy things. They'll try to make an excuse for why. And that's where you see like these old boomers. You know, older Gen Xers and the what's left over of the boomers that are still in the workforce. Their kids don't know what they're talking about. Who the hell is that guy? And also, just as a side thought, a lot of this also comes down to normacy bias. These people were people that were raised on the TV, just like a lot of people. Like, you ever watch one of those TV shows like Duck Dynasty and realize how incredibly stupid a lot of it is? I'm not trying to trash on duck hunting or anything like that. But, like, if you just saw those people out there and you didn't know they had a multi-million-dollar business, they're like, those fucking retarded hillbillies. Why should we listen to them? But then you put these same people on TV, and then, oh, yeah, those guys know what they're talking about. Same thing with the news anchors. Oh, there's people on the news. These people, that's a raven right there. Flying pretty low. The people on the TV, well, see, that guy's wearing the suit and he's on the show. What if they're fucking lying to you? And they're like, so you show somebody a podcast or something and you're sitting there like, well, I should listen to that guy. Translation, they don't even have a network. It's still that thinking. And I'm glad, you know, to see that dying off. I'm glad that I think COVID did a huge favor to people in the sense that now people are like, for decades, we've known the news has been lying to us. But now you just go online. And this is, by the way, this is a lot of the reason that even though everybody complains about AI, the big corporations love AI. The politicians love AI. You know why? Because anything that comes out, if they got a video of someone fucking up, they'll just say, oh, well, that's just some AI generated shit. But it's the fact that we can fact check people. And now it shows, hey, the emperor's wearing no clothes. But that's the people these people grew up worshiping. And that deep mindset, you know, like, well, that person's not established. That person's not. And I'm like, but are they wrong? Are they wrong? And when their immediate reaction is talk shit about them because apparently I guess they don't have enough gray hairs, or like, how was that person a millionaire? Oh, they just got lucky. Now, some people, the rare occasions, you know, by the way, luck, that's actually really insult. If you've ever seen somebody who makes it, saying they got lucky is a fucking insult to a lot of people. And the reason for that is, you know how many people that you think got lucky actually applied themselves? Like, you think that every sports star just got lucky, or did they have to go out and become better at their craft? Some, yeah, a little bit of genetic makeup there, but they actually had to go out and work. Just like a lot of people, like, you got a guy who becomes like a pediatric brain surgeon. And he's basically top notch at that. Oh, he just got lucky. Lucky my ass. And by the way, a lot of people that are successful, they have to run this. In order to avoid, which I call success shaming. By the way, that's a lot of what the old people do too. Young old people, your friends, your family, a lot of people you grew up with will try to tear you down. Success shaming you because they didn't try. But then you'll see even the worst part where people who actually made it, instead of being like giving them a middle finger and being like, nah, fuck you, they were right. They were right. Those other people were wrong. They'll kind of go, oh yeah, I just got lucky. No. Most of the success I've seen a lot of people has nothing to fucking do with luck. Nothing to do with luck. I mean, even in a lot of second and third world, there's people who move up and there's people that are still picking stuff out of the garbage. Okay? Some people really just never put forth any fucking effort. And just like in America where we subsidize the poor, even if the public schools are crap, you at least have schools, you have libraries, you have a telephone which has the Library of Alexandria in the palm of your hand. Some people use the thinking meat. Most people don't. And the people that are the most butthurt after all the living of years are the people who worked really hard but got little to show for it. Or the rich people who just don't want to see the next guy come up and replace them. So it's important when you're young to understand, yes, your friends and family, they kind of care about you. And they want to see you do well, but not better than them. No, that takes a real loving individual, like someone that's a sensei that wants to see their pupils do really great. Most people are not that way. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny how people run around thinking we're humans, we're so evolved. No, we're not. It's still that bullshit dominance instinct. It's just hairless apes prodding around, pretending that they're human. But I've said my piece on this. Later. Freedom Phil, like and subscribe.